Next up, we have the Caldwell Group to present their overhang beam. As in the previous sessions, please post your questions by using the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window, and the folks at Caldwell will answer your questions at the end of their session. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Caldwell.
Welcome to Caldwell's presentation. Let me see here. I've got to share my screen. Please bear with me. Okay, yeah, good morning. Welcome to Caldwell's presentation of our overhang lifting beam product. My name is Dan Mongan. I am the Senior Sales Engineer for the Caldwell Group. Really appreciate everybody attending this morning. So I like to only start out with a brief overview of Caldwell, just so you got a good feeling for who we are. Caldwell, of course, has been developing innovative lifting solutions since 1959. We're employee owned and located in Rockford, Illinois. We have about 115 employees, and I always like to point out that about 50% of our business is custom equipment. So we can develop most any lifting solution. Caldwell has a real wide range of product, and we break it up into product groupings. And here's a screen kind of showing that. Of course, strong back is our industrial duty line. We put equipment in steel mills for heavy service. We have our Posi-Turner load rotation equipment. We have a full vacuum lifter line. Rig Release is our patented remote releasing system. Rigmaster really covers construction equipment. We also have a line of fork truck attachments we call lift truck. We can provide jib and gantry cranes, and then we still maintain some slings and tie downs. So just an overview of Caldwell. Also want to mention that we're going to be doing two other presentations. J.C. Renfro's presentation will be at 4:15, and of course we have a relationship with Rudd, and their presentation will be at 4:40. So to get right to it, what is an overhang beam for? Well, there's times when your overhead crane or mobile crane can't be located over the top of the load. There may be obstructions, or your crane can't travel far enough. So we can develop an overhang beam to solve that problem. So, how can a crane lift something that isn't directly under it? Well, again, we'll custom design a lifter. It will utilize counterweights, and those counterweights may be in a fixed position, or they may move, and they may be powered or manual movement, okay? So, hey, what are some applications for overhang beams? When you're out there talking to end users, how can you help them? We're seeing a lot of these being used in equipment maintenance. So, for example, you might be lifting a motor or something out of a machine that you just can't get a crane, above. Construction's a great example of where overhang beams can be used. Imagine you're building a skyscraper and you need to lift something into or off of the 5th floor. Well, you can't obviously get your crane hook into the floor, so you can reach in there with an overhang beam. The other thing that we're seeing is in material processing. There's times when maybe a producer of plastic may have a roll. If it's full width, there's a monorail crane above the center, but at times they may have a narrow roll off to one side and can't reach it, so we can provide an overhang beam to allow them to do that. Okay. I'll say that we engineer every one of these per application. So there's a lot of information needed to really zero in on the needs and the features that make sense for the application. I won't go through this in detail, but we have an application sheet that we send. We can certainly get that in your hands if you need it, and then we'll have your customer fill that out, and we'll move from there. Okay. So here's a view of our motorized unit. This is a battery operated unit, and you can see this entire trolley assembly has counterweights. It's powered, it moves back and forth, and that's how it balances. So when it's unloaded, the counterweight assembly is directly under the crane hook. You go ahead and connect the load out here. This is the overhang distance, from center of hook out to here. And then when you begin to make the lift, the counterweight assembly will move in this direction and balance it out. So really, the best thing I can do is show you a quick video that we have out on YouTube of one of these in action. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And I'm hoping everybody can see that.
We cannot. You have to stop your screen share and restart it with the video.
Okay. How's that?
Got it.
Okay, so yeah, here's our video. Apologize for that. Showing the overhang beam. We do power them in AC, DC. We can even do hydraulic or manually operated. The trolley has limit switches that stops it in its min and max positions. And of course, we do everything to B3020 BTH. So here's a test we're doing in our shop. Basically, you can see it's connected to some type of load. You see how it's tilted, and now the counterweight is moving outward, and it will balance it out. So you see it's coming up off the cart there, and of course it's balanced, and you can make the lift. So kind of the reverse now. We've got it balanced, and we're bringing it over, and we're going to place it on that cart. Going to go ahead and lower it down. And now you see the counterweight moving, to your right. So it's going under crane hook, so it will hang level unloaded. Okay, so I want to make sure you saw that. So we'll go ahead and get out of that video. Let's see here. Whoop. I'm sorry, can you guys see the screen now?
No.
Okay, bear with me.
Now
How about now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm off my, okay. Apologize for that. Okay, so everybody can see this, right?
Correct.
Okay, so so that showed how our battery operated unit works, and a feature that I want to point out that we have on that is our auto leveling system, and that's a patented system that we developed really in the Posi-Turner product, but we've applied it to overhang beams, and what it does is it senses if that beam tilts out of level, and once it senses that, it tells the motor to go ahead and run, and that moves the trolley until it goes level. So there's no operator guesswork, it just automatically balances out. So that's a really great feature. I'm not sure that anybody else in the industry has that, okay? Here's an example of a manually operated unit. And you can see here that it has a hand wheel to adjust it. And it also has legs that we park the lifter with. So if you think about the sequence of operations, you're going to lift this beam with the counterweight located under the crane hook. And we're going to move it over to the load. And here's where we're going to connect the load to out here. And then we're going to rest it on the ground. And the reason we're doing that is it allows you to easily move the counterweight outward with the hand wheel while it's resting. If you did that in the air, it wouldn't be as stable, and you may be going up an incline, and it would be difficult to turn. So anyway, we sit it on the ground, we adjust the counterweight, we connect to the load, and then we go ahead and make the lift. Of course, put it level, and then move the load to the new location. Okay, so that's a little bit about how our manual unit works. We can also do lifters that have a fixed counterweight. And if you notice this is a really interesting application. Had a customer that was placing pre-assembled corner windows on a skyscraper. And again, obviously you can't get the crane hook over center of gravity. So we developed this lifter that connects to the load and has a fixed counterweight out here on the end. And the key to this is these two slings here on the top. So what you see here is it in its loaded position. Of course, this sling is supporting the load and it's vertical. But when it's unloaded, this sling then becomes vertical, as you see here in the side view. So the lifter is tilted. You bring your lifter over to the load and you connect it to these two, or I should say 4 connection points, and then as you lift, it goes vertical again. So that's an interesting way to solve that problem. We can do some simple stuff too. Here's a fixed counterweight version. This customer had twin hoists, but of course they had an overhung load, or a load that was 10 feet away from the closest hoist. So very simply, we just built a beam. We got bales where you connect the cranes, and we added a big counterweight here to counteract the mass of the load. Okay. We can do some big ones too. Here's a good example of a 10,000 pound lifter. That counterweight is just massive, but it's what we needed to do for this application. You can see that the unit's weight is altogether almost 15,000 pounds. So we have a lot of ability to do a lot of different sizes and styles of lifters. Here's another interesting one. This is, similar to the video that I just showed. But in this case, the customer wanted the lifter to literally bolt right to the load. This is in some kind of chemical processing facility. And this item here that's gray, that needs to be removed 4 times a year for maintenance. And there's no physical way to get in there to do that. So 4 times a year, they get our lifter out, they bolt it in place, they start to lift, the counterweight automatically moves out and it balances, and they can easily remove it. Okay. Here's another interesting application. This, in fact, is for Tesla in one of their battery manufacturing facilities. And in this case, they're removing components of machines in various restricted areas, and their overhang distance needs to vary. So you can see here it's up to 12 foot, and then it goes all the way down to 6 foot with a telescoping boom. This again is a really large lifter. It weighs almost 13,000 pounds. So that's a that's another interesting way to do it for sure. So I guess at this time I'd open up for questions.
Yes, Dan, we had one very good question come in. Does the automatic counterweight require calibration or maintenance?
You know, there's roller bearings in the trolley assembly that would require greasing. There's really no calibration that's required. You know, it is an electrical tilt switch that we've got kind of a, I wouldn't call it patented, but we've worked with a supplier to develop. It's inside the enclosure, and it's pretty much just mounted in place, and we're off and running.
Okay, next question. What happens if you lose power during counterweight movement?
Well, first of all, there's a battery operated unit, and those are designed around cycle time. You know, the customer tells us, hey, I'm going to make 4 lifts per day or whatever it might be. It also has a charger on it. Yeah, if power, there's no risk of dropping the load if you lose power. Obviously, if there's no power, the counterweight won't move.
Okay, you seem to have covered it well. It's a very interesting product, and I'd like to thank you for your time. Do you have anything else to add before you close?
I don't. I just appreciate everybody jumping in today on this presentation, and wish everybody well.